What if I told you that some of the best foods for healthy aging may already be sitting in your kitchen? While many people spend money on expensive creams and complicated routines, simple foods have been traditionally used for generations to support energy, skin, and long-term wellness. Things like berries and olive oil are packed with antioxidants and natural compounds that research suggests may help the body deal with everyday stress and inflammation. These are not miracle foods, and they cannot stop aging, but they may support how you feel, think, and recover over time. In this video, we are looking at 7 time-tested foods that are easy to find, simple to use, and still hold value today. Let's start with one of the most powerful everyday foods. First one is blueberries. The brain and skin protector, blueberries, often called the little blue guardians, may look simple, but they carry a quiet kind of strength that's easy to overlook. Long before they showed up in smoothie bowls and health magazines, wild blueberries were gathered and valued by Native American communities. They were dried for winter, mixed into foods for endurance, and respected as a source of lasting energy during long journeys. These weren't luxury foods. They were survival foods, trusted over generations. Now fast forward to today, and research suggests there's a reason these small berries earn that trust. Blueberries are rich in compounds called anthocyanins. These are the natural pigments that give them that deep blue color. Studies indicate these compounds may support brain function, help the body manage oxidative stress, and play a role in how our skin and cells handle daily wear and tear. In simple terms, every day your body deals with stress from the environment, from what you eat, even from just being alive. Over time, that stress can build up. Antioxidants like the ones in blueberries may help your body stay balanced in the middle of all that. The beauty of blueberries is how easy they are to use. You don't need a complicated routine. A small handful in the morning, tossed into oatmeal, yogurt, or even just eaten on their own, is enough to make them part of your day. Fresh or frozen both work well. Just try to avoid the heavily sweetened versions, since added sugar tends to cancel out the simplicity we're aiming for. And if you're someone watching your blood sugar closely, it's worth keeping portions moderate and paying attention to how your body responds. First one is blueberries. The brain and skin protector, blueberries, often called the little blue guardians, may look simple, but they carry a quiet kind of strength that's easy to overlook. Long before they showed up in smoothie bowls and health magazines, wild blueberries were gathered and valued by Native American communities. They were dried for winter, mixed into foods for endurance, and respected as a source of lasting energy during long journeys. These weren't luxury foods. They were survival foods, trusted over generations. Now fast forward to today, and research suggests there's a reason these small berries earn that trust. Blueberries are rich in compounds called anthocyanins. These are the natural pigments that give them that deep blue color. Studies indicate these compounds may support brain function, help the body manage oxidative stress, and play a role in how our skin and cells handle daily wear and tear. In simple terms, every day your body deals with stress from the environment, from what you eat, even from just being alive. Over time, that stress can build up. Antioxidants like the ones in blueberries may help your body stay balanced in the middle of all that. The beauty of blueberries is how easy they are to use. You don't need a complicated routine. A small handful in the morning, tossed into oatmeal, yogurt, or even just eaten on their own, is enough to make them part of your day. Fresh or frozen both work well. Just try to avoid the heavily sweetened versions, since added sugar tends to cancel out the simplicity we're aiming for. And if you're someone watching your blood sugar closely, it's worth keeping portions moderate and paying attention to how your body responds. Second is turmeric. The golden root of longevity, turmeric, often called the golden root, is one of those quiet staples that's been hiding in plain sight. It's that deep yellow spice you've probably seen in curry, But behind the colour is a long history of daily use for balance and vitality. For centuries, turmeric has been a central part of Ayurvedic tradition in India. It wasn't treated as something special or occasional. It was part of everyday life. Mixed into food, blended into warm drinks, even used in simple pasts. People turned to it to support how the body handled strain, movement, and the natural ups and downs of living. Now, modern research is starting to look more closely at what makes turmeric so unique. The key compound is called curcumin. Studies suggest curcumin may support the body's natural response to inflammation and may play a role in joint comfort and overall resilience. That doesn't mean it changes everything overnight, but it does point to why people have kept it in their routines for so long. Here's the simple way to think about it. Your body is constantly adjusting. Every step you take, every meal you eat, every bit of stress you carry, it all adds up. Turmeric may help your system stay more balanced through those daily pressures, instead of getting thrown off course. Using turmeric doesn't need to be complicated. One of the easiest ways is to add a small amount to your cooking: soups, rice, eggs, or vegetables. You can also stir a pinch into warm milk or tea. Traditionally, it's often paired with a bit of black pepper. That's because black pepper contains a natural compound that may help your body absorb curcumin more effectively. At the same time, more isn't always better. Large amounts don't necessarily give better results and may not sit well with everyone. If you're taking medication or have specific health concerns, it's a good idea to check with your provider before using it regularly. So why did turmeric get pushed to the side for so many people? In a lot of kitchens, it slowly became just another spice. Something you use for colour or flavour, not something you think about as part of your daily support system. And in a world that's always chasing stronger, faster solutions, simple things like turmeric can feel too ordinary to matter, but that's often where the real value is hiding. Think of turmeric like a slow-burning fire. It doesn't flare up or demand attention. It just keeps a steady warmth in the background, helping everything run a little smoother over time. Third one is olive oil. Liquid gold for cellular health. Olive oil, often called liquid gold, is one of the simplest foods you can bring into your routine, yet it carries a depth of value that most people overlook. For thousands of years, olive oil has been a foundation of Mediterranean living. It wasn't a trend or a specialty item. It was used daily, drizzled over vegetables, soaked into bread, added to meals without a second thought. In regions where people have traditionally lived long, active lives, olive oil has always had a place at the table. Today, research is beginning to explain why. Olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats, which studies suggest may support heart health and help maintain balanced cholesterol levels. It also contains natural compounds called polyphenols. These act as antioxidants, helping the body deal with everyday stress at the cellular level and supporting how your skin and internal systems age over time. If you break it down simply, your body depends on healthy fats to function well. Not all fats are the same. Some weigh the system down, while others help things run more smoothly. Olive oil falls into that second category when used the right way. The key is keeping it simple and choosing the right kind. Extra virgin olive oil is the least processed form, which means it holds on to more of those beneficial compounds. A small drizzle over cooked vegetables, salads, or even finished dishes is often enough. It doesn't need to be complicated or heavy. One thing to keep in mind is heat. High temperatures can break down some of the delicate compounds in olive oil. Using it for light cooking or adding it after food is prepared helps preserve its natural qualities. So how did something this valuable become overlooked? Over time, many kitchens shifted toward cheaper, highly processed oils. These oils were marketed as convenient and long-lasting, and slowly, traditional options like olive oil became less central in everyday cooking. It's not that olive oil disappeared. It just lost its role as a daily essential and became more of an occasional choice. But when you bring it back in, consistently and simply, it starts to make sense again. Think of olive oil like putting a few drops of oil on the hinges of a door. Without it, things can start to feel stiff, strained and noisy. With it, everything moves a little more smoothly, quietly supporting the system day after day. Fourth one is garlic. Nature's ancient protector, garlic, often called the poor man's protector, is one of the most powerful everyday foods hiding in plain sight. It's sharp, it's strong, and for a lot of people, it's just something you toss into a pan for flavor. But its story goes much deeper than that. In ancient Egypt, garlic was given to workers building the pyramids to support strength and endurance. Greek athletes used it before competitions. Roman soldiers carried it as part of their daily rations. Across cultures, garlic wasn't just food. It was trusted as a steady source of resilience in demanding conditions. Today, research is beginning to connect those traditions with what's happening inside the bulb itself. Garlic contains a compound called allicin. When garlic is chopped or crushed, this compound forms and becomes active. Studies suggest allicin may support the immune system and play a role in maintaining healthy circulation and heart function. Think of it this way. Your body is constantly interacting with the world around you. Every day, it's adjusting, responding, and protecting itself. Garlic may help support those natural defense and maintenance systems so they can do their job more effectively. The way you prepare garlic makes a difference. One simple habit can go a long way. When you crush or chop fresh garlic, let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes before cooking. This gives the allicin time to fully develop. After that, you can add it to your meals like usual soups, vegetables, or lightly sautéed dishes. You don't need large amounts. A single clove used regularly can be enough to make it part of your routine. But if you're sensitive to strong foods, or if you're taking certain medications, especially those related to blood flow, it's worth checking with your provider before increasing your intake. So why did garlic lose its place as a daily support tool? Over time, it got pushed into the background as just another flavor. Something you use to make food taste better, not something you think about for its deeper values. And in a world that leans toward packaged convenience, strong, natural foods like garlic can feel too simple or even too intense for everyday use. But that intensity is part of what makes it effective. Think of garlic like a quiet guardian. It doesn't draw attention to itself once it's part of your routine. It just works in the background, steady and reliable, helping your system stay protected and balanced day after day. Take a quick second and think about this. Out of the foods we've covered so far, which ones are already part of your routine, and which ones have you been overlooking? Sometimes it's not about adding more. It's about noticing what's already within reach and using it a little more intentionally. If you're enjoying this kind of simple, no-hype approach to health, go ahead and like the video. It helps more people find this kind of grounded information without all the noise. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. We keep things practical here, focused on traditional wisdom, everyday foods, and small habits that actually fit into real life. Now let's get into the next ones, because a few of these might surprise you. Fifth is green tea. The daily reset drink. Green tea, often called the quiet cleanser, is one of the simplest habits you can build into your day. It doesn't require a recipe, a plan, or much effort. Just hot water, a handful of leaves, and a few minutes of patience. For centuries, green tea has been part of daily life in Chinese and Japanese traditions. It wasn't just about hydration. It was used during moments of pause, reflection, and steady focus. Monks drank it to stay alert during long periods of meditation. Families shared it throughout the day as a way to reset and reconnect. It became less of a drink and more of a rhythm. Now, modern research is starting to explore what's inside that cup. Green tea contains natural compounds called catechins, with one of the most studied being EGCG. Studies suggest these compounds may support antioxidant activity in the body, helping cells manage the stress they go through every day. There's also some evidence that green tea may support metabolism and energy balance in a gentle, steady way. What makes green tea different from stronger stimulants is how it feels. It contains a moderate amount of caffeine, but it's paired with another compound called L-theanine. Together, they may support a calm, focused kind of alertness, rather than the sharp spikes and crashes many people experience with other drinks. Using green tea can be as simple as replacing one daily beverage. Instead of reaching for something sugary or overly processed, you brew a cup and let it become part of your routine. 1 to 2 cups a day is often enough to feel the difference. It's best not to go overboard, especially if you're sensitive to caffeine. And if you're pregnant or managing certain conditions, it's a good idea to check with your provider before making it a regular habit. So why did green tea lose its place for so many people? In a fast-paced world, we've leaned towards stronger, quicker boosts of energy. Coffee became the default. Sugary drinks filled the gaps. And something as simple and steady as green tea started to feel too mild to matter. But that mildness is exactly where its strength lies. Think of green tea like a gentle reset button you press throughout the day. It doesn't force your system to speed up or slow down. It just helps bring things back into balance, one quiet cup at a time. Sixth one is dark leafy greens. The foundation of vitality, dark leafy greens, often called the original multivitamin, are some of the most overlooked foods in a modern diet. They're not flashy, they're not exciting, and they don't come with bold promises. But they've quietly supported human health for generations. In traditional cultures around the world, especially in rural communities, leafy greens were a daily staple. Not because they were trendy, but because they were available, reliable, and deeply nourishing. People grew them in small plots, gathered them fresh, and built entire meals around them. They were a constant, not an afterthought. Today, research helps explain why these simple plants have held that role for so long. Dark leafy greens are packed with vitamins like A, C, and K, along with minerals such as magnesium and iron. They also contain plant compounds that studies suggest may support cellular health, circulation, and how the body manages everyday stress. When you think about it, your body runs on thousands of small processes every second. These nutrients help keep those processes steady, not in a dramatic way, but in a consistent, foundational way that adds up over time. The good news is, using leafy greens doesn't require anything complicated. You can sauté them lightly, add them to soups, blend them into smoothies, or simply mix them into meals you're already making. Rotating different types like spinach, kale, or collard greens can help you get a wider range of nutrients. And it's always worth taking a moment to wash them thoroughly before use. Now, if you're on certain medications or have specific conditions, especially related to blood clotting, it's a good idea to keep your intake consistent and talk with your provider about what works best for you. So why did something this important get pushed aside? For a lot of people, leafy greens started to feel like a chore. Compared to packaged foods that are quick, salty, and designed to taste intense, greens can seem plain or even boring. Over time, convenience replaced consistency, and these foundational foods lost their place. But the truth is, not everything that supports you is meant to be exciting. Think of dark leafy greens like the soil beneath a garden. You don't always notice it, and it doesn't draw attention to itself. But everything else depends on it. When the soil is strong, everything above it has a better chance to thrive. Seventh and last is nuts and seeds. Compact nutrient powerhouses, nuts and seeds, often called nature's tiny batteries, are small but incredibly potent. They don't take up much space, but they carry a concentrated package of nutrients that our bodies recognize and use every day. Throughout history, these little foods were essential for travelers, hunters, and anyone on the move. People carried almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds as compact sources of energy and endurance. They were reliable, shelf-stable, and powerful, giving strength without weighing you down. In many cultures, nuts and seeds were also celebrated as symbols of abundance and resilience. Modern research helps explain why they were so valued. Nuts and seeds are rich in healthy fats, protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Studies suggest that regular consumption may support heart health, help maintain metabolic balance, and even provide antioxidant benefits. They're dense in nutrition, which means a small handful can do more for your system than a large portion of many other foods. The simplicity of using them is one of their greatest strengths. Sprinkle them over salads, mix them into oatmeal, or snack on them on the go. One important note is portion size. Because they're calorie-dense, it's easy to overdo it if you're not paying attention. A small handful a day is often enough to get the benefits without excess. So why did these nutrient powerhouses fall out of favor? Over the years, convenience snacks took over. Packaged chips, bars, and sugary mixes became the default, while the humble nut or seed got relegated to a side thought. People started to think of them as just snacks instead of the functional, nutrient-rich foods they really are. But when you bring them back into your routine, you remember their original purpose. Think of nuts and seeds like tiny batteries storing long-lasting energy. They quietly power your body from the inside, ready to give you a steady boost whenever you need it, without demanding attention or fanfare. Aging isn't controlled by one food or quick fix. It's shaped by the small choices we make every day, what we eat, how we move, and the habits we stick with over time. The foods we covered are simple, practical, and rooted in tradition. Start with one or two and build from there. If you found this helpful, like the video, subscribe for more grounded health insights, and share it with someone who values practical wellness tips. See you in the next one. Before we finish, it's important to remember that the foods we talked about today are traditionally used to support general wellness and healthy aging. They're not guaranteed solutions, and results can vary from person to person depending on your lifestyle, diet, and overall health. Some of these foods may not be suitable for everyone, especially if eaten in large amounts or if you have sensitivities. Pay attention to how your body responds and adjust accordingly. What works well for one person may feel different for another, and that's perfectly normal. If you have ongoing health concerns, are taking medications, or have specific conditions, it's a good idea to check with a qualified healthcare provider before making significant changes to your diet. Using these foods thoughtfully and consistently while staying aware of your own body is the safest and most effective approach.